Kia ora and welcome everyone to another episode of Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams, a podcast exploring the lives and minds of theatre practitioners in and around the Aotearoa performing arts industry. I'm your host, James Shearer, and today I am joined by Hercule Poirot himself from the Court Theatre's Murder on the Orient Express, Mr James Kupa. I know, 2 Jameses in one podcast. Who knows what will happen? The world might explode, but you'll just have to listen in to find out. James is an actor, improviser, and audio describer. Listen in as we chat about James's life through acting and improvising, from his young years in Hawke's Bay to his foray into screen acting in Auckland, and finally his theatre career in Christchurch. This is a brilliant conversation. I really enjoyed myself in this one, and especially because it's my first in-person interview. So the rest have been done on Zoom, and now we are recording in the beautiful recording studio in Tūranga Library. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, please enjoy a conversation with James Kupa on Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams.
Should I sit here?
Yeah. These mic stands are not great.
So it'll start recording my penis at some point.
Hey.
Start recording my penis.
Yeah. Here's a headphone.
Oh,
If you want.
this is hard now.
And you can
Oh,
just
and we got a squeaky chair. Okay. My voice is a bit raspy today. Oh no.
You didn't have a show. Yes.
Nah.
And not today.
Nah, but also sometimes I'm a little too don't warm up. And then when
You're a little too don't warm up.
Yeah, I'm a little too don't warm up. I'm a little too I'll just have a chat and then do the show. I'm like, ooh, that's why you warm up.
Yeah. That is why you warm up.
And that's why you warm up. You know.
I know.
You know why you warm up.
I went to training.
You need to warm up way more than... Don't lean on the seat. Way more than I need to warm up. Hi, James. This is James. Because you do sings. You do songs and whatnot.
You do songs. Now and then.
Now and never again, probably.
No, never again. I think you were great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, lots of people are saying I'm great. I was very fine. It was fine in that, and it was very fun. But you know, when you do something and you don't usually do that thing, and it's like, I don't know. It feels like it was more of a fluke than exercising some skill.
I don't think that.
Okay, fair.
I don't agree.
Okay. Wow, this is a James of Thrones podcast. This is where we get something and just disagree on it.
Hey, don't spoil the James of Thrones.
Okay.
It's coming.
Yeah. It's coming. Eventually.
Eventually. It's been coming for a while.
Yeah.
Cool. Hi, Mr. Kupa.
Are we going to record now?
We're recording. We've been
great.
recording.
Oh, perfect. All that, my penis talking.
All the penis talk.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
Perfect.
Because you've said that, I need to put that part into the podcast now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Otherwise, people won't know what
fine.
happened.
People still probably won't know because they can't see the mic stand slowly slipping
Yeah,
downwards.
for context, we have not very good mic stands, and they're slight. Like I would say, put yours up.
It's slowly slipping down.
Slipping down.
Okay, let me. Oh,
You can
What are we doing here?
be rough with it, I think.
Oh yeah, this is people adjusting mic stands because what's in? Oh no, that's tight. That's loose.
This is incredible content for an
This is
audio
great.
podcast.
So just to let you guys know what I'm doing, I am adjusting the mic stand, and I've done next to nothing. Next to nothing. I can go like this, and then slowly over the course, slowly sink into my chair
as I berate you with questions. The first question that I would like to ask you, Mr. James Kupa.
What's my question?
Do you have a favourite musical?
Do I have a favourite musical?
Since we talked about you not singing that much, do you have a favourite play of any kind?
I do. I like watching musicals. So I do have a favourite musical. I've got two. So one is not quite a musical, I don't think. The first one, you know, you have those things that like strike you at the right age, and they sear themselves into your brain as, wow, this is great. My favourite musical is one of them is Avenue Q.
Perfect.
Which hit like Teenage James like a truck. It was like puppets, which I love, and the music was so funny. Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, debatable now, some of the content.
Yep, true.
But yeah, when I heard the tracks on that and watched the little I could on what YouTube was back then, it was like, wow, man, oh man, this is so good. Yeah, so good. And even since then, like Robert Lopez, and what's his wife's name? Kirsten Anderson Lopez.
Yeah, the big
Frozen and Coco as well is the songs in Coco. I tried to sing "Remember Me" to my daughter when she was a baby, and I just couldn't get through it because I was like, I would just cry.
It's so emotional.
It's so emotional.
But yeah, Avenue Q is like, I just love the way they incorporate the puppets and also be acting themselves at the same time. Yeah,
exactly. I saw it at the theatre in Auckland. That's in the middle of the city, Queen Street in Victoria. I think, what is it? The Civic. The Civic. I think it was the Australian touring cast. It was so good. It was so funny. And seeing the puppets and the people at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not even looking at the people, and when I do, they're absolutely in it, and as if they didn't have a puppet. So, and the second one is, it's like experimental rock from the 80s.
Just as a genre?
Well, the second musical, in air quotes, that I really enjoy, and I think it would be really good. It probably already has. It was an 80s adaptation of War of the Worlds. And it is just bangs the whole time. Yeah. It's so good. Just like a heavy driving synth and... Yeah.
Is it like original songs? Was it original song?
It is, yeah. I can't even remember who composed it or who did it, but it was just an album to start with, and they may have done stage shows of it. In fact, I know they've done stage shows of it, but I'm not sure if you sort of, deem it a musical per se. But I'm pretty sure it has like spoken word between like the characters, like a play but with music. I don't know. But it's a banger. It's a banger.
I can imagine. Yeah, War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
As a musical.
Yeah. And the music is so like, just given the content, is super 80s / late 70s, I think. It's so jarring, like the sound of the music and the content, that it's, I don't know. I just really like it. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, speaking of musical striking you when you were younger, did you do performing when you were growing up? Acting or anything?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No. The earliest I can remember, I was around 12, and I'm not sure even if they do this anymore. At the end of the year at primary school, do like a little concert for the parents. And
classic.
And each class does like a musical number, or a song or a poem or something. Yeah. In our class, the teacher was like, we're going to do Time Warp from Rocky Horror.
Amazing.
Yeah. And got all dressed up, and I was like, oh no, shy little James.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. And then the teacher was like, well, you can be. There's an old guy who does the instructions for the dance.
Oh yeah.
You can be that.
It's just
guy.
a jump to the left.
Yes. And I did, and I was like, oh, that was quite fun.
Yeah.
And then people were like, when you're a kid, and people are like, wow, you were really good. That was really good. And you're like, oh, well, maybe I was really good. I was pretty good. So yeah, that's the earliest. But
did it continue from there, or did
no,
just that one off?
That one off. But it was fun, and I watched a lot of movies and televisions and shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next point wasn't until probably around 16. And I'd watched a lot of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Mm-hmm.
And then joined the theatre sports team and did some improv in the latter years of my high school career.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was like performatively, that was probably the biggest chunk of time, the earliest chunk of time that I can remember being enamored with it.
Yeah. So you didn't really do, you did improv first, really? Like
Yeah.
That was kind of the start of it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because there was I went to a school in Hawke's Bay called Hastings Boys High School, and it was very much the sound quality's pretty, still all right like this.
I think so. I don't know.
Very much a sports school.
Yeah.
And there was no drama classes whatsoever. This was before NCEA as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, there weren't a lot of subjects to do that were available. And so all of the improv stuff and acting stuff was extracurricular, which was fine. But yeah, started off with improv in theatre sports at high school. Yeah.
Did you do D&D at all? Right?
No. I didn't do D&D until well into my 20s.
Yeah.
I think it was up in Auckland when I first moved to Auckland. Some stand-up comedy friends of mine said that they were going to start a D&D game, and this was in I think like 4th edition, maybe even 3.5.
Yeah.
And asked if I wanted to come play. And I was like, okay. And they explained to me, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. This is pretty fun.
Yeah, because it's literally like gaming
Yeah.
mixed with improv.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's the long and short of it.
Yeah. And have you DM'd?
I've DM'd a couple of times. I just don't know if I've got the patience for it.
So much preparation.
And so much preparation. And then the DMs that don't prep or have very little prep, like an hour before the session. It's like, I don't even know how.
Yeah, it's
they do
either a lot of prep or a lot of stress.
A lot of prep or a lot of stress. Yeah,
both.
that's it. Yeah.
And live D&D is a lot different.
Live D&D is a lot different.
Yeah. We can touch on it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Right. We'll get there eventually.
We'll get there. Yeah. In the next 4 hours.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream role?
A dream role? Yes.
And is it Hercule Poirot?
And is it Hercule Poirot? No, but I have a few because they each scratch a different itch, so to speak. Oh yeah, now we're getting down to waist height.
Wait,
oh, that makes a big difference. Maybe I'll just go like this.
Do we have
some counterweight science? Oh, that's gonna work. That's gonna work. And so for all you likely listeners at home, James has just draped his bag over the other end of the mic stand, and now it's perfect. And now it's going to go upwards.
This is going to mic the sky, or
Yeah.
the AC unit.
Yeah. If I start sounding weirdly robotic and with a constant hum, it's because the mic stand is now facing upwards.
Yeah. And decidedly more interesting.
Just absolutely way more. It's like, wow, when James said, that was so insightful.
So insightful.
Wow.
What were we talking about? Dream roll.
Dream rolls. Yes, but funny you should joke, because one of my dream roles is Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I knew a little bit about Poirot before starting Murder on the Orient Express, but not a whole lot. My detective of choice was Holmes.
Mm-hmm. A lot of similarities.
A lot of similarities, both kind of equally as socially awkward,
Mm-hmm.
both intensely intelligent, which then has an effect on, their social malleability and stuff like that. But after finding out I was going to be Hercule, I did a lot of research, mainly watching other people's portrayals of him just to see what they were doing with the character.
Yeah.
And I really love him now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe as much as I love Holmes. Who knows?
Wow.
Who knows?
That's a big call.
Yeah. Holmes and Poirot would be quite the team
Hey,
to solve crimes.
now there's a show.
Now there's a dynamic duo. Batman and Robin, no thanks.
Poirot and Holmes.
Poirot and Holmes, exactly.
And Watson.
And also Watson. He's there to record.
He's there too.
Yeah. Record the happenings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Holmes is one of the characters I'd very much like to play. I'm a big fan of Tennessee Williams and his work, and I would really like to play Tom Wingfield in The Glass Menagerie. It's my favorite Tennessee Williams play.
Yeah.
It's just very, not small, but I guess that's the most accurate descriptor of it. It's much smaller, a very small play. It's like a household play.
Yeah.
And it's about Tom, his sister, and his mum.
Yeah.
And his sister, I don't think it's explicitly said, but his sister has health issues that are keeping her from flourishing, and his mother is very much a faded Southern belle, who is desperately trying to, hold on to the past, and with Tom's sister, who can't flourish like Amanda, the mother, thought she would be able to. She can't live her life through her. And there's lots of tension and everything. And Tom's spent all his life at home caring for them, especially his sister, and now is getting to a point where he just wants to leave. But he knows if he leaves, they're gone. It's very intimate and a lot of family drama in it. So, the Tom. And then the third one, I chose three. There was only one, and I chose three.
That's absolutely
That's how I roll.
That's you're right. This is
That's
your
my right.
podcast.
Yes, this is great. And then the other one, they're first equal. That's why they're all first equal.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's not actually three.
It's not actually.
It's
It's
one.
this one. Then the last one is Macbeth, because I am such a huge fan of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And I really love incredibly tragic characters. I think they're so beefy, especially ones where the audience can see it coming.
Yeah.
From they just know, like, oh, you're done for from the moment they step on stage.
Yeah.
And just witnessing the the heights of which they achieve and then the plummeting depths.
It's like those movies where like the timeline's out of, like they show you the end at the start, and then you just watch the build up to what you know is about to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Of course.
The interesting part is the journey.
Yes.
Not the destination.
Hey.
That's what I always say.
It's like Mama always told me. It's not the journey, it's the
box of chocolates.
It's the friends we make along the way.
So, in terms of study, you went to Eastern Institute of Technology.
I did.
For a year?
For 2 years. It was a diploma.
Yes.
2 years. Yeah. Eastern, the EIT, as they lovingly call it in Hawke's Bay.
Yet.
It's still there. The performing arts course. We were the last ones through.
Gotcha.
Because I don't know why it was there in the first place. But it was.
Yeah.
So I did it. 2-year diploma. So they had 3 streams. They had acting, music, and dance. And I did the acting. I did the dance one, obviously. It was like, dance is not for me. I'm glad I dedicated 2 years to it.
Now I understand why you were cast as the dance
teacher
teacher
in Dance Nation. Yeah,
Dance Nation.
It's because that 2 years, that diploma.
Yeah. They gotcha.
Follow your dreams.
They understand you.
They understand. They got me. Did the acting stream. It was great because I met a whole lot of cool people, like-minded people.
Yeah.
I took a year off to work in there after high school, and coming from a big place with not a lot of like-minded people to then spending every day with a room full of like-minded people.
Yeah.
It was a great primer to either completely abandon it or solidify that decision to continue with it.
Yeah. What did you do for work before going?
What did I do for work before going? I worked retail mostly. After I finished high school, I was primed to go to design school. Like I had my portfolio ready, and I'd visited schools, and I'm like, yep, this is what I'm gonna do. And then at the end of the year, in the 11th hour, I sort of thought, but what about acting? I know, I'll take a year off and just chill.
Yeah.
And then found out about this course at EIT and did that. I was like, after that, I was like, yep, I should probably just do this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty, apt at it.
Yeah.
So.
And then you went to Toi as well.
Went to Toi, yeah. And another good thing about EIT is that it gave me a lot of skills that you necessarily wouldn't get just from, being a human.
Yeah.
Specifically
You'd
for
hope so.
Performing arts. Yeah.
It's kind of what it's there for.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why it was there, to be fair. No shade to EIT. Performing arts course, I don't think anyone from that course is still in the country, but it was a great bridging course between not knowing nearly anything about acting or theatre or that side of it, to then starting like the most intense training actors specifically can undergo in the country.
Yeah,
it was pretty intensive.
Yeah.
Like, if someone asked me, would you do it again? I would say absolutely not. I would never do it again.
I feel the same about NASDAQ.
Yeah. But that said, I would never do it again, but I would never trade it for anything.
Yeah.
My years at Toi gave me the foundation to become, the actor that I am today. I'm sure the same
for sure.
NASDAQ.
Yeah, and the connections as well.
Exactly.
Like, that's one of the most valuable things I've found from going to NASDAQ is just knowing all the people that come through and are connected to it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even that said, one of my tutors in my final year of EIT was Lara McGregor.
Great.
I know.
Yeah.
And I had such a great relationship with her then. Then I went to Toi.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated, she gave me my first professional job in a theatre,
Wow.
which was at the Forge Theatre at the Old Court in the Arts Centre, where I met Kathleen, because she was in the same show.
Yeah.
So it's like Kathleen Burns, sorry. Kathleen Burns and Matt Hudson and Mel Dodge.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, exactly.
It's all connected, eh?
It's all connected. It's such a small country, and then it's such a small industry inside the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But so many connections from Toi. My wife.
Yeah.
Sarah, my wife. We broke the cardinal rule and started dating. We were in the same class. And now, what was it? So, nearly 20 years later, married with 2 children, living in Christchurch.
So the paths we take.
Exactly.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking that Toi is a bit more film focused than other stuff? Or in your experience, was it more theatre and stuff?
In my experience, at the time, for acting specifically, there were 2 schools which were vying for the spot.
Right.
Which I don't know if you can even say that this is the top school in the country. There's different schools.
Yeah.
But, when you go there, you're like, we're the best. But it was Toi in Wellington and Unitec Performing Arts program in Auckland.
Yeah.
And at the time, a lot of the talk between the differences of the schools was that Unitec was more screen focused,
right, and
Toi was more theatre focused. But we did a lot more theatre than we did screen.
Yeah,
this was 2006, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
But I believe since I graduated, they've now got quite a nice mix of the 2, so you get experience in both.
Yeah. Because I guess Wellington is kind of the home of, this might be a wild generalisation, but like the home of film in New Zealand?
Potentially, yeah.
Being that Weta is based there, and
Park Road Post and Weta. That's true. At that time, Lord of the Rings was only just becoming a thing. So, the difference, though, is that in Auckland is South Pacific Pictures and several television production companies, and really, if you wanted to become a screen actor or even an actor in general, the migration to Auckland was inevitable. Yeah. Like you would study at Toi, maybe spend a year or 2 in Wellington, and then move to Auckland because that's where the work was. And it still is, I think. Yeah. It still is. If you really want to focus on screen, you got to go to Auckland because that's where it is. The majority of it is at the moment. After the pandemic, after the initial brunt of the pandemic, we're still in it, obviously. Sarah and I thought it would be a good idea to leave Auckland and move. And one option was Hawke's Bay, where I'm from, which I vetoed straight away.
Sure.
Or Christchurch. And I spent many, many months going, I don't want to move to Christchurch. I still want to, I still want to do acting. But then it became painfully obvious that was the smart move for our family. Yeah.
Being that Auckland's so expensive.
We didn't have family in Auckland. Yeah. A majority of Sarah's family are in Christchurch.
Right.
We could potentially afford to buy a house in Christchurch, whereas it was impossible in Auckland. It probably still is. And so, it was like, this is the correct decision for our family, so guess I better. And then I mourned the loss of my acting career. I'll never act again.
Yeah, for a couple of months until you got an acting.
Well, that's the thing. Like, give me my boots. I'll eat them.
Yeah.
And I'll enjoy every morsel because, I almost acted more since moving down to Christchurch than I did in the entire time I was in Auckland.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's still heaps that people can do.
Yeah.
Even though New Zealand is such a teeny tiny country, the gateway to Antarctica.
Yeah. And I think it forces you to gain other skills as well.
Yep, that's right.
It's impossible to just do one thing unless you're the best.
Yeah.
So, like, if you do tech stuff or you direct or all that stuff, like, just you kind of have to be a jack of all trades.
Yep.
Which is great. Like, I really enjoy being a jack of all trades.
Exactly. And it's so invaluable, like, right? Like, I mean, if you weren't a jack of all trades, you specifically James Shearer, then I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to spend as much time, at Little A with you.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the greatest tragedy if that had happened.
Absolutely. The greatest tragedy of New Zealand being a small industry is that James Kupa and James Shearer never met.
No. I think lock that in.
Yeah.
That's absolutely 100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
True facts.
True facts.
James and James's True Facts podcast.
Yeah. Jam and Jam.
Jam and Jam.
Equals James.
Yeah.
Inside jokes.
Yes. Good. That's what they like. That's what the listeners like.
Yeah. Penis jokes and inside jokes.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. Penis jokes and inside jokes.
Carrying on.
We got the little E on the podcast.
Yeah. We've earned the E.
Yeah. Content may offend.
And we've got the soundbite for the promo.
Yeah, great.
What was your first production when you came down to Christchurch?
My first production when I came down to Christchurch was Frankenstein at the Court Theatre.
Yeah. That's an interesting role, because you do both.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you learn the whole show.
Pretty much.
And play both the monster and
the titular doctor.
The doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And I moved down in January, and then audition notice went up around June, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a little bit earlier, and I did, and I got it, and I got to meet and work with Holly and Tom, who were very instrumental in my smooth transition into Christchurch living. Got to meet a whole bunch of amazing creatives through them. Yeah, and being at the Court Theatre in general. But yeah, Frankenstein. It was that. I think that's my favorite play I've done to date. I think. Yeah, because like you said, myself and Wes were cast as the creature and Victor, and each night we would have to swap creature or Victor. Yeah, and then do it. So yeah, pretty much learning the two lead roles. Yeah, challenging,
for sure.
Challenging, but so fulfilling. Yeah, because they're very different. Very different characters. Literally,
one's a literal monster.
Yeah, one's a literal monster. Starts the play as a literal baby in a grown man's body. Yeah. And then becomes more in touch with humanity than the guy who's been a human the whole time.
You could almost say that the man is the monster.
Yes.
Which is kind of the point.
That's kind of the point. Is kind of the point. Yeah.
Because you've done a bit of TV stuff before then, eh?
Yeah. I moved to Auckland in 2010, I think, 2009. And then was pretty lucky in that I managed to book a job at least once a year. So I did a fair few special guest appearances on various shows. Yeah. Tried to crack the theatre scene, but couldn't quite get into the right crowd.
Yeah.
So not saying that's how it is, but I don't know. If you know, you know.
It kind of is how it
kind of is.
It's a cliche, but it's like who you know is very important.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
If you know the right people.
Mm.
Screen stuff is always very fun.
Yeah.
After we moved to Auckland, I was still working pretty consistently as a stage actor. And for the first couple of years, we were up there just with tours and going to different cities in the country. I think Sarah and I ended up that for 1 year, I spent probably 1 or 2 months with her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
That's
how it goes.
Yes, that's how it goes. And we sort of had a discussion about it, and it was like, oh, this can't work out. And so I thought, oh, this is true. So I stopped doing theatre altogether,
right,
and just focused on screen. It was great to just, plant your feet and build a little nest and do work where you can. And so actually, Frankenstein was my first foray back onto the boards since 2012, and that was in 2021.
Yeah.
So nearly 10 years not doing it.
Mm-hmm. And then going straight back into one of two leads,
yeah.
one of two people in the cast.
Yeah. My agent emailed me, is like, oh, they want to offer you Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this must be some kind of joke. Or they must have just misread because there's also Monsieur Frankenstein, Frankenstein's dad,
mm-hmm.
who's in the play.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if it is this. So this creature and Frankenstein, like those two, here's the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty shocking.
Yeah.
No, do I remember how to do this? Ooh, but thankfully, Tom and Holly were so supportive and amazing to work with. So
they are amazing.
They're amazing. Full stop.
Holly has an episode of the podcast.
Does she?
If you would like to hear more about Holly Chappell-Eason,
yes,
you can go back and listen.
Indeed. Time to get her other half, Tom Eason, on the show.
It is high time to get Mr. Tom Eason on the podcast. Shout out to Tom.
Incredibly, the Christchurch creative power couple.
For sure. No question. All this time you're also doing your audio description job? Is that true to say?
Yep, that's true to say. I started working for a company based in Auckland, a not-for-profit called Able,
mm-hmm.
who work in the realm of media accessibility.
Yeah.
So what that more or less means is that people who can't access media the way we do, of us who can hear and who can see, people who don't get those opportunities can then access media as easily or as accessibly as we can.
Yeah.
And they are the house that do all of the captions for the closed captions for TVNZ and now Discovery, and all of the channels that go under those umbrellas. Mm-hmm. So more or less every single channel on New Zealand television.
Yeah.
And also the audio description, which is what I do. So I worked for them for about 5 years before moving down to Christchurch, and now have the awesome good fortune of working as a freelancer for them. So yeah.
I saw a making of The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh yes.
And they had a bit in there about accessibility and how they can how the creators can allow for multiple people with disabilities to be able to play the game. Like they have a way for a blind person to play The Last of Us,
Amazing.
just through like adaptive triggers and
Oh, really?
haptics on the control and audio, like surround sound audio. There's an enemy on the right.
That's amazing.
Attack, you know.
And then the controller gives feedback to like this direction or that direction.
It was incredible.
That's cool.
Yeah, that technology can allow for that.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, totally. And it's just like, as the actor, you want people to be able to experience the stories that you're a part of.
Yeah.
And then if you can broaden your range to include, people that wouldn't otherwise be able to, like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. That's why I love how theatre companies now are doing relaxed performances and all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Just to widen the scope of who can enjoy theatre.
Yeah.
Because it should be everyone.
It should be. Yeah, absolutely, it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really blink twice when you see like wheelchair access to a theatre.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And now also, I don't think you would even give a second thought if you went to a show and it just so happened to be a sign language interpreted show.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Perfect. And also, I definitely know the court do it for a bunch of shows, but they provide audio described shows as well. Which is like, this is the perfect direction to be going in, I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next? James checks his laptop. That's my audio describe you, shall I?
Keep going.
Nothing's changing. James is still checking his laptop. James unscrews the lid of his red drink bottle and takes a sip loudly into the mic.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for indulging me. We've talked a bit about D&D.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sow that seed because you are in a show called Dungeons and Comedians.
Sure am.
Which, as we mentioned, is a lot different to
it's heaps
an
different.
at-home D&D show.
It might as well just be something completely...
Yeah.
Just a completely different thing.
Yeah. How did that come about? You being in that show, not the show itself, because it's been a show for 8 years now.
8 years,
9 years.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of this year was 7 years, so it's in its 8th year. Yeah. But long story long, before I moved down to Christchurch in Auckland, I knew 3 people. I knew one person very, very well, Kathleen Burns. Shout out to Kathleen. And I messaged her and I said, I'm moving down to Christchurch. And she said, finally, you need to talk to these people. And one of them was Brendan Bennett, who is the genius brain behind Dungeons and Comedians. Yeah. And I think in the first year I moved down, at some point, Brendan asked me to do a episode. And I did, and it was great fun. And then sort of popped up here and there for a few more episodes in the following years. And then last year and this year, I have had the great fortune of being a core cast member. So going month to month with Tom Eason, as mentioned earlier, Raylene Rose Halaga, and Crystal O'Gorman. And we've, I think we're up to episode 12. This coming April will be episode 12 of this ongoing arc, season 3, I think. Yeah. It's dreamy.
It's great.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
And your character is Amadeus Crumb.
Amadeus Crumb, yes. And this is, like I said earlier, Holmes is one of my... Yes, I pretty much based Amadeus Crumb on Sherlock Holmes.
You typecast yourself.
I was like, well, no one's going to cast me as Holmes, so I might as well just make it up myself.
Yeah.
And then it made a half-orc librarian/detective. And also, I very much enjoy Matt Berry's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'll give him that voice. Then I can just do it every month.
New York City.
You are the worst person in Tucson, Arizona. New York City. It's just so good.
It is so good.
It's so good. But also a lot to do with being part of the court jesters as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah.
Getting to know Brendan a lot better, and a lot of the other cast members who have done previous DNC shows. Yeah. I don't know where I'm pulling this from, but I have a suspicion it feels like the right thing in my storytelling instincts that these characters will not necessarily die, but this arc will come to an end at the end of this year or at the end of this chunk. And that feels right.
Yeah.
In my bones. But I don't want it to. I don't want it to.
Yeah.
But it will be what it'll be. And you can't have something good forever.
No.
No.
That's what makes it good.
Exactly.
And who knows, it may end and then there are cameo things.
There'll be a cameo pop up and
the ghost of Amadeus Crumb.
Ooh, I died. I hope you're reading your books, or I'll haunt you forever.
In the next season, they're all just students of Amadeus.
Yeah. It's set in some kind of magic school.
Yeah.
And he's one of the tutors that promptly dies.
Amadeus Dumbledore.
I'm the headmaster of this school. Get to class.
You're not even there. You just do audio recordings for every show.
Yeah.
You're
Mike,
just the narrator or something.
Yeah. Michael Bell has a little Amadeus soundboard that he can just whenever they just push the buttons and
get to class.
Gryffindor. It's an Amadeus Crumb sorting hat, but it's like a skull. It's Amadeus' skull, and they put it on top of the students' heads, and then it sorts them into a house.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
2025.
2025. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams exclusive.
You're breaking all the news today.
Yeah. So we touched a bit on Murder Train.
Yeah.
AKA Murder on the Orange Express.
Mm.
So you mentioned you did a lot of research for Pralo.
Yeah.
What did that entail?
A big bulk of it was lines learning.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's
a big
part of anything. But specifically for Poirot, in this adaptation, he talks a lot. He talks a whole lot. And so a big chunk of the work leading up to it was learning the lines, or at the very least learning the flow of the show and where each scene happened and what happens in each scene, and getting that in your bones. And then the other bit specifically on character was the accent was pretty. It was like, well, I have to have a good accent. Well, not good, but convincing, convincing accent at least. And I tried listening to a lot of Belgian accents, but nothing was really taking me in a direction that was, satisfying.
Yeah.
And like, it feels like I'm getting something done. Yeah, it feels like some progress is being made. So I watched a lot of the television series Poirot.
Yeah, gotcha.
With Dave Suchet, and not to try and copy his accent, but to see what he's doing. I find it a whole lot easier to watch, if I need to do something, to watch an actor do something and see what choices they make.
Yeah.
And then what choices are instinctually coming to me, and then potentially trying a few things to try and get it on the same path as an actor that I enjoy or that I respect. And so I watched a lot of Dave Suchet's shows, and the more I listened to his interpretation of the accent, the more that became clear. Like, oh, this is what a Belgian accent sounds like in my head. It, like, sounds French, but a lot of the vowels aren't as, they're quite blunt. And it doesn't really necessarily have the musicality that a French accent has.
Yeah.
If I had to draw any analogy, it would be if the Australian accent has heavy American influence, and that was French, then the New Zealand accent, which has a lot of English influence, that would be Belgian.
Yeah.
So things are a little flatter, a little less pitchy and accented, and
a bit more relaxed.
Yeah. And plus I got to see the kind of choices that he made for the character itself, for Poirot, which was good. Which also very different though. I think one being screen, very different to stage, and also he wasn't doing the same adaptation as we were doing, which is Poirot classic. Like, it's pretty classically Poirot, but there's a lot of things in the play, ways he reacts to things that I don't necessarily think Dave Suchet's Poirot would do. Yeah, if that makes sense. But yeah, a lot of Dave Suchet. Yeah, and then I watched the Kenneth Branagh ones as well for fun.
And
they're fun.
Yeah,
they're fun, and it's kind of like, well, if Dave Suchet is the litmus test for Poirots, Kenneth Branagh is like the action hero, like the modern action hero Poirot. Yeah, that's fine. I watched another adaptation of Murder on the Orient Express starring Alfred Molina. It was made in the 90s, but also set in the 90s.
Wow.
So they reassemble the Orient Express, and like, this is going to be its first voyage since it was decommissioned. Right. And Poirot is on it. And there's laptops and Palm Pilots and la la la.
This is a movie.
It's a movie. I think it's like a straight to television movie.
Yeah, right.
And it's charming. But I guess because Alfred Molina is such a tall man as well, or like relatively tall comparative to, other interpretations of Poirot that have been short and dumpy and so you can sort of maintain a not meek but reserved demeanor and tower above everyone else. Yeah. So absorb mainly through TV and film, absorbing a lot of those sort of things. Talking with Dan Bain, the director of Murder on the Orient Express, about the character and their journey through the play. Yeah. And then sort of aligning both of our visions for what the character is. And makes things so easy when you're both on the same page. For sure. Or, I don't know if this is correct, but as an actor, being adaptable enough to lean more into what the director's wanting. And also being surrounded by a killer cast. It's a killer cast. Pun definitely intended.
No spoilers,
but pun intended. It's just filled with a bunch of people that I've either worked with before and loved it immensely, or have been on my must work with these people in Christchurch at some point in my life list.
I can't wait to see it on Friday.
You're coming on Friday?
Yeah.
Sick guy. Some reason I thought you'd already seen it.
No, I haven't been able to.
Hey, that's cool.
So far.
I know, it's...
And I bought tickets, and then because I'm working on the Lost Sock coming up, I just got comps only for Murder on the Orient Express. So I was like, well, guess I'm going again after Friday.
Oh, so you bought tickets for Friday and then
got comps, yeah.
Surely. Hey, Rachel Vavasaur, listen, if you're listening to this podcast, can you please give James Shearer a refund on his tickets? He's just got comps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's direct from mouth of the star of Murder on the Orient Express. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. You're awesome. Cool. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Friday.
Bring your A game.
Bring my A game. Bring the A train. Here comes the A
Here
train.
comes the A train.
Yeah.
You got to slip that line in somewhere.
Here comes the A train. Do you know what? At the last dress rehearsal without an audience, we did the curtain call, and Giles, bless his heart, Giles is the lighting designer and head tech at the Court Theatre. He's amazing. He played the Thomas the Tank Engine theme to our bows, and
Amazing.
it worked perfectly. And I hope at some point during the season he slips it back in.
Surely. That's what a matinee's for.
Yeah.
So it's a chill audience.
Yeah.
And it'll have probably more children than a normal show would.
Certainly going to have at least one.
At least one.
Mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Giles, if you're listening.
Giles. Giles' last name, Tanner. Giles Tanner, head tech at the Court Theatre. Please play the Thomas the Tank Engine music during the curtain call at some point during the season. Thank you. I'm just thinking about the favourite musical. I want to know what your favourite musical is.
Yes. Good question.
Because you'd be pretty well versed in musicals, right?
I'm well versed in mainstream musicals, I would say.
Sure. That's way more than me.
At the moment, my favourite musical is Hadestown.
I've seen clips.
Mm-hmm.
It's got from the clips I've seen, it looks like it's greatly inspired by like Southern jazz, blues.
Yeah. Like the band is on stage the whole time and they like play a part in the show, and there's the three fates as well, who one or all of them play violin.
Amazing.
Like on stage as they're singing, and yeah, it's great.
That's so good. I don't know if it's something from the mythology, but in literally my favorite, it's probably my favorite piece of media of all time. It's a graphic novel called The Sandman, and the fates are in that, but they have like a string. They always have a string, like the string of fate, I guess. I wonder if that violin is some sort of
strings of fate.
Yeah. What? There you go. Hadestown. Okay.
Yeah. Look at it. Look it up.
I'll look at it. I won't look it up. I'll just look at it.
Look at it.
Yeah. This is a bit off topic, but if you had to write a musical, like about, I don't know, anything you wanted, what would you write it about?
I have had this idea for a while.
There you go. And now it's going to happen. You heard it here first.
I've pre-titled it Internet Musical.
Internet Musical.
A teenager gets a phone for the first time, or gets access to the internet for the first time. And then you see their life through their interaction with the internet.
Oh, that's sick.
All you see is like the proxy, like their avatar essentially.
Yeah.
As they interact with the internet.
Yeah.
And there'd be like different characters who represent different apps and different websites and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's kind of inspired by Bo Burnham's Welcome to the Internet.
I haven't seen that.
You should watch Bo Burnham Inside.
Okay.
It's a Netflix special that he did.
Yeah.
While, like, during the pandemic.
Right.
And he literally locked himself in his house for like a year.
Damn.
And made this Netflix special.
Netflix special.
Yeah.
Sick.
And yeah, one of the songs in that is Welcome to the Internet. And it's like essentially the gatekeeper of the internet, like saying, welcome, here's how fucked up the internet is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good idea. You should do it. You should get it done. I've written a musical before.
Have you?
Yeah. 7-minute short film musical.
Mm-hmm.
Our idea is not as interesting as yours. Our idea was a guy goes to get bread, and then someone takes the last one, and then
it's essentially Les Mis.
Yeah, he spirals into into a pit of revenge, and then eventually murders the person who took the last bread. So, yeah, it's a bit the same. Kind of the same.
Yeah. You can write a musical about anything.
Yeah. Well,
as
I've proved, as we have proven.
Yeah.
Can there be a number in the internet musical which is like just 100% memes?
For sure.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. The lyrics have to be memes.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Yeah, and everyone's in their costumes are like different memes.
Yeah.
Like there's that cartoon dog in the This Is Fine room full of fire and other ones.
Other memes.
and then other ones. I'm sure there's other ones.
I'm sure there's at least 2 other memes. One more question.
Yeah.
For you.
What's
James
the question?
The question is, what is your Kiwi dream?
The curtains are closing. Sorry, I just got distracted by
the curtains.
The curtains closing by themselves.
Interesting. Yeah, being that this is called Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams, like in the industry, what would you like to still do or in life?
Like at this juncture in James's life, I think I'm, I don't know, in the midst of living the dream, to be honest. I just want to ride this wave until
just keep going.
Until it subsides or I find something different to do.
Yeah.
But been pretty fortunate in the last few years and to be, I want to do more cool characters, more cool shows, meet more cool people. Yeah. I'm pretty lucky. It feels like I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You can see Murder on the Orient Express at the Court Theatre until April the... So the thing is, the reason I'm checking my calendar is because we've the good fortune of being extended. So I would have said the 6th of April, but that's not true. Now it's the 12th of April. 12th of April.
2024.
And selling fast. So
it's selling fast. So
get your tickets.
Get amongst it. Or you can also come and say hello to me at Little Andromeda on April the 7th.
Yeah.
First Sunday of
every month.
Every month, April 7th. DNC.
Yeah. DNC.
Heck yeah.
Get amongst it. All right. Thank you again.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, listener, for listening.
Thanks, Rachel and Giles, for listening.
Please heed our words.
Please heed our words. Or pay the price.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the first in-person Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams. I had so much fun talking with James, and it's so good to be in the same room as the person you're talking to, rather than like on Zoom through a screen. I hope you enjoyed that. As we said in the podcast, you can catch Murder on the Orient Express at the Court Theatre until the 12th of April. Tickets are selling real fast, so get in there quick, because last I checked, there's not many tickets left. And I will also be in Showbiz's production of Kinky Boots from the 19th of April to the 4th of May. So if you want to see some bright red boots on stage, come and see us at the Isaac Theatre Royal. See you there. Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams was hosted, edited and produced by me, James Shearer. You can support me on all the socials at Kiwi Dreams Pod. Feel free to share this episode with a friend who you think might enjoy it. And yeah, have a great day, and I'll talk at you next time on Broadway and Other Kiwi Dreams.